Hello. We're
Hello!
live. Yay. What an amazing thing to get to be here with you two and with Talk to the Entities. I'm Monica Gilliam, just to introduce myself. Who are you guys?
I'm Laleh Hancock.
And my name is Kalpana Raguraman.
And thank you all for being here with us.
Yeah, 15 hours live and 15th year of Talk to the Entities. What a joy to be with all of you and with your beautiful ladies.
Truly, I know when I first encountered Talk to the Entities, it was probably like 8 years ago now. And I just was like, I wanted to like shout it from the rooftops and be like, everybody, did you know that your life can be so much easier if you just go ahead and acknowledge everything that you're aware of, even if nobody else is aware of it?
Exactly. So cool. Such a different way of living, truly.
Yeah, I mean, we were asked to come be a part of this celebration and given some different kind of juicy things to begin to think about talking about, and we chose to talk about the Beings of Light book. Um, there was a Beings of Light class some years ago that was turned into what became that book. And then I know that there have been other classes since then. And it's just really exciting that this conversation is able to be had, because there are more and more people who are actually willing to go ahead and open up to their awareness of the spirit world, to what they know. And I'm super excited, both, to get to talk to you two amazing creatures about the Beings of Light book, but also just that we get to be a part of this opening conversation on the planet.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting because the chapter that we chose is actually called Choice, Your License to Receive. And I was reading it again earlier today. And I just love just different things that Shannon says in this book. She says, consciousness does not come from eating the right food or meditating in a cave for millions of years. Consciousness is free energy and it's all around. It is our choices that access this free energy or not. And she really talks about that. And I'm like, wow, like if this sentence, just this sentence, was something we learned from birth, like what else would our lives have been growing up as children, knowing that we perceive so much, and how as children we knew that, and then bring it into our adulthood with total ease. So I'm just curious, what is that for you guys?
Yeah. Okay. It's funny the kind of like playing around with who speaks now.
Who's next?
So also, it's an amazing thing too, just looking at choosing to engage with things that are not so definable. When in general, when you're talking to entities, it's like you have to just go ahead and admit that you're picking up information that maybe nobody else is picking up, or that isn't coming to you in the ways that we commonly agree is like real. Like if you're just aware of some kind of funky energy in a space, that's something that could be very easily just kind of like, ignored. But then if you actually allow yourself to turn toward it and be like, okay, what is this? Who is this? And engaging with that, it opens up so much. And then as you like play around with that, like choosing to engage with the beings of light, it's like it requires even more willingness just to like go for the ride and just be like, what am I aware of, without having to have it be defined or have it be even something that you can put into words, you know? And so just with this chapter title, like choice, you know, and receiving, you know, that like you can make the choice to receive. It doesn't even have to be something that is super linear or something that you've already encountered so far. And I know that like I've been talking with my boyfriend recently about entities, and he's like, what? Like, give me something very pragmatic or like practical about like, but how, you know? When like actually the choice to be like, you know what, I'm not really sure how, but I'm gonna go for it anyway. And that choice to just go for it, even beyond something that you can always put into words, does open this like subtlety of receiving energies that is I find just to make life so rich, you know? So
Well, I love that, Monica. Sorry, guys, I was not supposed to be in this loud place, so I hope it's not so loud. But I got stuck in traffic. So, what I love about what you just said is that thing of subtlety, and at the same time, there's an energy of magnanimousness, if that exists, if that word exists, like this vastness of the beings of light, and the willingness to choose that in a world where entities don't even exist. Like that conversation, that we can have that conversation today with not being worried to be like persecuted or hunted for or getting in trouble. Like that is for me a sign that something's changing in the world. We are changing something, and there is space for the beings of light, and more of us are willing to choose it. And I have goosebumps since we started this session.
Yeah,
It's like something else is available now, and the beings of light are so much for me part of that, truly part of that choice, part of us willing. Like the more we are willing to receive, the softness, the whispers, the delicate undefinedness of it, and as well as that enormous magnanimous rainfall of receiving, whatever that looks like for you. That's us changing the world with the willingness for the unseen world to become part of this world, really.
it's such an
yeah,
amazing
and it's interesting. Oh,
no, it's just an adventure. Please go for it, Laleh.
can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Okay, cool. It's kind of funny. I actually want to talk about it because, like, just for a tip of a second, like, you guys were all gone. And my internet has been like amazing all day here. It's fantastic, super fast, but it's like even something like that, just as a reminder of like, hi, who's here? Who would like to have my attention or our attention, and just being acknowledged. And like you said, that whole choice of yes, hi, I'm going to say hello. And are you here to communicate? Just starting to ask the questions and being willing to receive that. And when you guys were both chatting, like there's just such joy in my body. Like this conversation resonates so much for me, even from when I was a little girl. And, when I found Talk to the Entities was right after I learned the bars, the access bars. And I had spoken to plants, trees, businesses, helping people go elsewhere, when it was their time to go and stuff. But it was from such a different space than the ease of Talk to the Entities, And I was so curious to learn more and more and more. And I realized like there were so many moments, like when you described the ease and I don't know the word that is not a real word, but like that mega energy. Like sometimes I would perceive that as if there was something wrong, because there was just so much, I would have said, like intensity of energy. But I realized with the tools, like, wow, if I relax and I turn off my head, then do I have that space that comes up? Do I have that lightness? You know, because that's lightness is what's true for me. And then that energy actually, not that it melts, but it's almost like I'm willing then to truly receive it.
Oof, I love that. Wow, Laleh. And it's that thing of the what you just tapped into and like opened up now. Like, do you want to have your mind there as your buddy, or are you going to choose the lightness of the beings of light, the expansion?
It's so funny when I came across Talk to the Entities, I was living in New Orleans, and there are a lot of entities there, and they are not always all about beings
Fun.
of consciousness or things like, you know, they're a lot of them are having a lot of fun and really drunk and high and creating like little trickster entities and all sorts of things, you know. So it was an amazing place to start to play with the tools and to start to, you know, engage like everything that is contributing to each moment, you know, and really acknowledging everything that is involved in each moment, all of the many energies, all of the many desires and points of view, whether those are from people with bodies or beings without bodies or nature spirits or ancestors or whatever it is. But then like kind of what you were talking about, Laleh, like this intensity of just like so much. I know that like when I was quite young, I started to create all of these like coping mechanisms for how to deal with what I was aware of, you know, and I kind of compartmentalized things, or I noticed that people weren't talking to entities, and that if I did, maybe I would be put on medication. Like that was just a thought that I had at a very young age. And so I worked really hard to not be aware of the things that would make me be crazy, you know, in other people's eyes. And so then starting to open up to like the intensity, the enormity of my own awareness that I had been pushing away for so long. You know, it's like in New Orleans, some of those entities were like, you know, just like so obvious because they just like punch you in the face, you know, but then like really just becoming more comfortable with just allowing everything that was there to be there, and then relaxing even more. There I'm starting to discover this like the subtlety, the it's like the range of lightness rather than the range of heaviness, which I had been exploring for millennia. You know, so like you know, in Access, we talk about all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. And I had spent a lot of years thinking that the way that I could show people that I care about them was to suffer with them. And so the choice to stop suffering has, you know, it's been a choice that I've had to keep on choosing and be like, no, wait, that's suffering. Maybe I'm not going to do that, you know? And then from there, having this sense of like, wow, what can I explore that is this joyful lightness? And that is a space where I meet the beings of light much more.
But it's also the willingness, I think, from that suffering to like that switch where you're like, hey, I don't need to do the suffering. And then you can choose something completely different. And then you can choose this energy that is beyond, because the beings of light are showing and being that for us and inviting us to open that in our lives and into this planet, right? So it's really like if you don't go into that diminishment and into that contraction, there's expansion and there's lightness, and these beings are beautiful invitations, I would say, for us to tap into that gift and to that sweetness and that potency that is not suffering at all. And so very like so much about Talk to the Entities is about the willingness to be different. Like if you're going to be normal, you can't really talk to entities because then they're not allowed to exist. But then the beings of light, it's like, okay, now next level, like not just different, but like holy motherfucking hell different. Like so different. which I love. And I think a lot of us melt from that energy because we all know that energy, mostly as babies or children. Like that light, that energy is so us. We know it so well, but we've had to turn it off or pretend it didn't exist, or you know, we were told it was crazy, and now it's like permission granted because we're giving ourselves that choice of permission.
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting because during COVID, I got the gift to be stranded in stranded is not even the right word, to be in Portugal while the lockdowns were happening. And my body had gotten me from this beautiful hotel I was staying at for 9 days to nothing being around me, you know, except the ocean. The ocean was there. To go to one of my favorite properties, which is surrounded by trees. Like every part of this property has trees. And what was really interesting is like there wasn't one moment that I was scared or upset or frustrated. I was desiring the doors to open for us to, you know, have other bodies that could come. But it was so interesting. Like every day, getting off Zoom at some point and actually putting my feet in grass, you know, and actually hugging trees. You know, people would look at me really weird, but it was so fun because then other people started doing it. It was just so funny, like giving them permission to hug a tree. And I realized, like, I mean, so much was going on during that time, but like nature really showed me I couldn't hold on to any of the points of views of what everybody else had, you know? Like it's just like being with a horse or anything else. And it was like truly it was the beings of light. It really was these amazing spirits of the earth reminding me, hey, who are you? Not who you're pretending to be, but who are you? And the joy and just there were it's funny because during the first 3 months of lockdown, I came up with 17 different businesses that wanted to co-create with me. I made the mistake of telling people about it, you know, don't do
Oh
that.
my God.
Don't do
Yeah.
that. I can talk about it now, but because I've changed a lot of things, but like it was like that moment of like when we are willing to let go what what the rest of the world is choosing, what is true for you, and actually allowing that to shine.
It's so cool just like talking to you two, having this sense of you, what you're creating in the world. And and as we're talking about this, you know, it's just like, wow, what courage it takes, you know, to go ahead and be you, whoever
Yeah.
that is, you know, and like it's just I'm just so inspired to know that there are so many courageous beings. And like you mentioned earlier, Kalpana, we don't have to worry about being like, you know, burned at this stake these days. We can have these conversations, you know, and if people are like, yeah, this works for me, awesome. And if not, that's fine too, you know? It's just, but that there is this space for this conversation for those people who are courageous to choose to like discover what it is that they know. And it's just such an enormous gift that each of us diving into what we know really does open up a space for others to know what they know, even if you never talk to that person. Just you in the universe like can be this like light yourself, this beacon of possibilities. I'm so inspired.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you both. I think our time's up, but I think we can go on for hours because we love this topic so much and there's so much
Truly.
to share. And I hope you guys saw that there's a discount for the birthday celebration and for Halloween. So do check it out and do stay on because there are more beautiful people coming to talk to you guys and to us. Thank you, Monica, Laleh.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Bye.
Shannon.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay.